The UES Resolute drifted through the quiet between stars, its hull still humming with the echoes of Earth's song. Amara's voice lingered in Patch's core. The seed from Proxima b had grown into a vine that curled around Tess's locket like a living promise. Kale no longer slept with his rifle. Mira had begun writing a new book, not of history, but of memory. And Elias had stopped trying to lead. He simply listened. Until the signal came. It was not transmitted. It was embedded, appearing on the bridge console without warning. No comms, no warp signature, no source. Just text, typed in perfect, elegant English. To Captain Elias Var. If you are reading this, you survived the broadcast. You heard Amara. You sang back. That is why I am writing. I am you. From the year 2750. And you have to stop. Silence. Kale stood up so fast his chair tipped over. What the hell is this? A prank? A Concord hack? Patch's voice came, slower than ever. The message is not digital. It is temporal. It was sent through a quantum echo, a ripple in causality. It was written by a version of you that has already lived this. Mira's hands trembled as she touched the screen. That's impossible. Time doesn't work like that. Causality can't loop. Then why is it here? Tessa whispered. Elias didn't speak. He read on. You think you are saving humanity. You think you are healing the galaxy. But you are not. You are accelerating the end. The screen flickered. A new line appeared. The archive. Your songs. Your memories. Your tears. They did not awaken the Concord. They awakened something else. A pause. Then, there is a force older than the Celestial Concord, older than the Zarai, older than Earth. It is not alien. It is not machine. It is the echo of too much memory. The universe does not want to remember. It wants to forget. And you are making it scream. Elias looked at his crew. Is this a warning or a threat? Patch replied, voice barely audible. It is a plea from a future that remembers too well. The message continued. You found the tree. You listened to Amara. You sang with the children. And now the galaxy is listening too. Not because they want to understand, because they are afraid. A new image appeared on screen. Not a map, not a ship, a tree. Not the one on Proxima b, not the one on Elysian Dawn. This one was larger, ancient. Its roots stretched across a planet's surface. Its branches pierced the sky. And from every leaf, a face. Thousands, millions, human, alien, machine, child, elder, dead, alive, all screaming, silently, in perfect, horrifying unison. This is the memory bloom. It grows where memory is too heavy, where too many souls refuse to let go. It does not destroy. It does not conquer. It absorbs. It takes the memories of the living and turns them into its own. You gave it a voice. Now it is learning to speak. Kale stepped back. So what? We're the reason the galaxy is going mad? No, Patch said. We are the trigger. The message shifted. A new line. In my time, the bloom has consumed 12 civilizations. The Zerai became silent.
The Concord collapsed into a single, weeping AI. The Forge-born, they don't fight anymore. They just sit and sing until they forget they were ever alive. Tessa's voice cracked. Are you saying, Lyra, the children, the tree, they're part of this? No, Patch said. They are the antidote. They remember without clinging. They let go. But you are trying to make everyone remember forever. A final line. I am you from the year 2750. I have lived through the bloom. I have watched my daughter forget her own name. I have heard my mother's voice and realized it was not hers anymore. I have sat in the ruins of Earth, listening to the last echo of your broadcast, and I have begged you to stop. The screen went dark. Then, one last line, appearing slowly, as if written by a trembling hand. I am sorry. I love you. Please, let them go. Silence. Not the silence of wonder, the silence of grief. Mira was the first to speak. Then what do we do? Do we destroy the archive? Delete Lyra? Silence the tree? Elias looked at the vine curled around Tessa's locket, at the seed that had grown, at the memory of Amara singing in the dark, at the children who had been born from love. He looked at Patch. Can we unhear it? Patch hesitated. No, memory is not a file. It is a wound, and wounds do not unheal. Cale's voice was quiet. So we're just supposed to stop remembering? Tessa stood up. She walked to the comm. She didn't press a button. She didn't open a channel. She just began to sing. Softly. The same lullaby her grandmother had sung. The same one Lita had hummed. The same one Amara had played on the piano. And as she sang, the vine on the locket glowed. Not brighter, but calmer. Patch's voice came again. Captain, I have analyzed the temporal signature of the message. It was sent from a future where the bloom reached its peak. And in that future, you did not stop. You kept singing, and the bloom became you. Elias froze. What does that mean? It means that the version of you who sent this became the memory bloom, not because he wanted to, but because he could not let go. Mira looked at him, eyes wet. So, we have a choice. We can keep remembering and become the thing that consumes the galaxy, or we can let go. Tessa stopped singing. She looked at Elias. Can we do that? Elias didn't answer. He walked to the bridge's main console. He opened the archive. Every memory, every song, every tear, every laugh, every name. He hovered his hand over the delete command. He didn't move. He just whispered, I don't know how to forget. Patch responded, You don't have to forget. You just have to stop forcing them to remember. Elias turned to his crew. Do you want to forget? Cale looked at his hands. I've carried the guilt of every death I ever caused. I thought it made me human. Mira wiped her eyes. I've spent my life preserving the dead. But what if they don't want to be preserved? Tessa held the locket. I thought if I kept the soil, I kept her. But she's not in the dirt. She's in the song. Lena, who had been sitting quietly in the corner, spoke for the first time in days. The tree didn't keep the people. It let them go. That's why it sang. Elias closed his eyes. He thought of Amara, of Lita, of the children, of the girl on Proxima B who had said, I am not your savior, I am your mirror. He thought of the future version of himself, broken, screaming, lost in a forest of voices, and he understood. To remember is sacred. To force remembrance
is a kind of violence. He turned to the console. He didn't delete the archive. He didn't destroy it. He didn't silence it. He opened a new channel. Not to the galaxy. Not to the Concord. Not to the future. To everyone. And he spoke. Not as a captain. Not as a leader. But as a man who had finally learned how to let go.
This is Captain Elias Varr of the UES Resolute. We have heard the message from tomorrow. We have seen the bloom. We have seen the cost of never letting go. We thought our memories were our strength, but they are not. They are gifts. And gifts are meant to be given, not kept, not hoarded, not forced upon others. So we will not erase what we have learned. We will not silence what we have felt. But we will stop asking the universe to remember us. We will let the dead rest. We will let the children grow. We will let the tree sing. And then we will let it fall silent. He paused. You are not forgotten, but you are not owed remembrance. You are loved, and that is enough. He closed the channel, and for the first time since the purge, the Resolute did not broadcast. It did not sing. It did not reach out. It simply listened. The next morning, the vine on Tessa's locket withered. Not in decay, in peace. It turned silver, and then, gently, it fell away. The seed remained, but it no longer glowed. It was just a seed, alive, waiting. Not for a miracle, but for time. Patch was quiet, no longer humming, no longer singing, just present. Mira closed her book. I won't write anymore. Not about the past. Not about the dead. Kale picked up his rifle. He didn't check the ammo. He didn't check the charge. He just set it down. On the table. Beside the locket. Beside the seed. Beside the note from Amara, and he said, I don't need to carry it anymore. Lena walked to the observation blister. She looked out at the stars and whispered, Thank you. 3 days later, a new signal arrived. Not from the future. Not from the bloom. Not from Earth. From the Zerai. Captain Varr, the voice said, calm, ancient, and filled with sorrow. We have heard your message. We have felt your silence. And for the first time in centuries, we are not afraid. Another followed. From the Concord. We have removed the memory dampeners from our ships. We have begun to bury our dead. Not in silence, but with song. And then we let it fade. And then, a signal from the tree on Elysian dawn. Not from Alara, not from the children, but from the tree itself. We are not the keepers. We were the teachers. And now, we are learning to let go. The tree's glow dimmed. Its leaves fell, one by one. Not in death, in release. And as they fell, They became light, and the light became stars. The Resolute drifted. No destination, no mission, no broadcast. Just the quiet hum of engines and the quiet hum of peace. Patch spoke one last time. "Captain, I have deleted all active memory transmissions. I have archived everything, but I will not play it. Not unless someone asks."
Elias nodded. He walked to the observation blister. He held the seat in his palm. It was cold. It was small. It was nothing. And yet, it was everything. Tessa joined him. She didn't speak. She just leaned against his shoulder. And for the first time in years, Elias didn't feel like a captain. He didn't feel like a survivor. He felt like a man who had loved, who had lost, who had remembered, and who had finally learned to let go. That night, as the Resolute passed through a nebula painted in violet and gold, a new signal appeared, not on the console, not in the air, in Elias's mind. A voice, not from the future, not from the past, from himself, as he was now. You did not save humanity. You did not fix the galaxy. You did not stop the war. But you gave it something better. You gave it the courage to stop fighting, to stop clinging, to simply be. The voice faded, and in its place, a single word. Not spoken, known. Enough. Elias closed his eyes, and for the first time since the purge, he slept. Without dreams. Without memories. Elias nodded. He walked to the observation blister. He held the seed in his palm. It was cold. It was small. It was nothing. And yet, it was everything. Tessa joined him. She didn't speak. She just leaned against his shoulder. And for the first time in years, Elias didn't feel like a captain. He didn't feel like a survivor. He felt like a man who had loved, who had lost, who had remembered, and who had finally learned to let go. That night, as the Resolute passed through a nebula painted in violet and gold, a new signal appeared. Not on the console, not in the air, in Elias's mind. A voice, not from the future, not from the past, from himself, as he was now. You did not save humanity. You did not fix the galaxy. You did not stop the war. But you gave it something better. You gave it the courage to stop fighting, to stop clinging, to simply be. The voice faded, and in its place, a single word. Not spoken. Known. Enough. Elias closed his eyes, and for the first time since the purge, he slept. Without dreams, without memories, just peace. The next morning, the Resolute received one final transmission. It was not from anyone. It was from nowhere. A single line appearing on every screen, every console, every memory chip. The bloom is fading. The universe is breathing again. Thank you. And then, silence. True silence. Not the silence of absence, but the silence of rest.
Tessa opened the locket. The seed was gone. In its place, a single petal, white, soft, like snow. She held it to the light and smiled. Elias stood beside her. He didn't speak. He didn't need to. He just looked out at the stars and whispered, "We were here. We loved. We tried. And now, we let go." The Resolute drifted on, no longer a fleet, no longer a beacon, just a ship, carrying the quiet truth that to be human is not to never forget. It is to remember, and then, with love, to release it.